Now, I mean, they are really in the middle of all of this right now. Of course, we know a lot of these demonstrators are very unhappy. Oh! It looks like a rock was just thrown on some police officers over here. A rock just hit these police officers. There's now a car on fire. Take a look down here, APD. There is a car on fire. Someone has set an Atlanta police cruiser on fire. This has totally gotten out of control. This is extremely wild. People are throwing things. People are running. There's smoke everywhere. This is really not the protest the police chief wanted, but it has gotten out of control. Take a look at that demonstrator up there on a cruiser with a police shield. That's what this has turned into. This has gotten a little dangerous. This has gotten a little...
Brutality. 400 years.
A lot of people very frustrated. A lot of people very frustrated, as you can see. A lot of people are very frustrated. And this is the result. Look at this. This is incredibly dangerous. People are around this car fire. People are around that car. It's on fire. And it's near other cars. This has turned into a very dangerous protest. And we're going to watch and see if people start to disperse now, because this has just really gotten wild. This has really gotten out of control. But we have a vantage point. We are a little higher up. We are a little further away from the crowds right now. And so this is what's going on. So we are going to wrap right now. I know my colleague Brittany Miller is a little bit closer to the scene, so we are going to send it over to her.
Okay, so the police car behind me is on fire. As you can see, I can actually feel the heat from the flames as they get higher and higher, and billows of smoke shoot up into the sky as that APD police car burns on Marietta Street. People are yelling to other people to actually get back, to move back. We don't know if this car is going to combust, as you just heard, as those flames get higher. So right now it's a matter of safety. Everyone, wow, okay, we need to move. So we're moving farther away from the flames as it continues to combust, because we were pretty close and we just want to be safe right now. Those flames are getting higher. You can probably hear the combustion. So right now this is a matter of safety, as it always was. But you can see the crowd behind these flames of, wow. You can see the crowd behind these flames as more people just continue to back up. And then to my right, these are where all of the officers are in their riot gear, with their shields, with their helmets, ready for whatever happens next. We had those clashes. We had several clashes. We saw several police cars vandalized. You can see the windshields broken. And this one car, this one Atlanta Police Patrol car, has burst into flames. The crowd has since backed up, but we don't know what's going to happen next. But again, I've said this throughout the day. This is unlike anything I've ever seen before, and we just have to maintain our safety at every turn.
You know, Brittany, I'm reminded Brittany, I'm reminded of that gentleman you were talking about at the beginning of the protest, before things turned violent, who was talking about his 17-year-old son and how he was hopeful, he was positive, he said, that this kind of violence was not going to break out. I'm sure he and so many other protesters are very disappointed to see this.
Yeah, you know, he said this is not the protest that organizers wanted, and that they made that very clear. They did not want any violence. They did not want to see what happened in Minneapolis, what happened in Los Angeles, that they wanted to keep the peace. But again, it is going on 4 hours or 5 hours now. I'm not even aware of the time, to be honest, but we're well past 3 hours at least, and tensions have continued to rise, and people are angry, and this is what happened. This is what happened. Cars are burning, windows are smashed, and vandalism has taken place as well, along with violence. We did see, I'm sure you saw it on camera in my last hit, another clash between officers and protesters as a man's face was smashed into a patrol car. I don't know if you can hear me. But some people occasionally are walking up to police officers in what I've been calling a Cuban barricade every so often, trying to have conversations with them or yelling whatever their messages are. But for now, as this car is on fire, it seems that things have calmed down for the moment, because people are just trying to stay away from the flames, as are we, Rick and Tracy.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, Brittany, thank you. And You know, as we've been talking, Rick, it's just unbelievable the restraint that the police force has shown at this point. And for those of you who are just joining us, we're entering our now fourth or close to fifth hour of watching these protests across downtown Atlanta. And you can see that in the flames they're popping of that police car on fire. And this is not far from the CNN Center there. This is on Marietta Street, I believe, right across from Centennial Olympic Park. And just within the last half an hour to an hour, things really took a strong turn for the worse, where we saw a number of protesters throwing chunks of rock from those containers that are sitting on the sidewalk there into the CNN building there, smashing windows, vandalizing the CNN sign. And look, now we're seeing police. They are in riot gear now. We see them marching down the street. We do want to head back out to one of our reporters who is closest to us. Is Ashley available? Who can tell us a little bit about this stance that police are taking here?
Well, I'm not sure if our reporters are able to hear us, Tracy, but the police do seem to be pushing the protesters back. They were holding that line for so long, and then once things began to heat up, and we saw the protesters jumping on top of those cruisers, probably about 6, 7, 8 cruisers in all, that's when the police began to try to move the crowds back and closer in the direction of Centennial Olympic Park. And you can see that is looking in the direction of the CNN Center on the right-hand side there, Marietta Street. Ashley, I believe Ashley Thompson is right near this particular location. Ashley, talk to us about what's going on there.
So that police cruiser is still on fire here in the middle of the street, and that's really the center of attention right now, but protesters and demonstrators are still throwing things. We've mostly seen rocks and bottles of water, and they are launching them into the air. 2 uniformed officers right here. We've got SWAT here, we've got Atlanta police officers here, and they just keep throwing things this way. As we showed you earlier, most of these police cruisers in the center of this road right here are really just damaged. People took whatever they could, skateboards, I saw a guitar, rocks, and just smashed out the windows. They smashed the cars. They're extremely frustrated, they're extremely angry, and we thought maybe this car fire would push some of these people further back, but they keep coming up. They're still here, they're staying put. You know, I guess this is one way that they want their voices heard. They want to see what's happening. Obviously, this is history, and they want to see history in the making. But they are still just keeping their eyes on this fire right here. And for the most part, we are seeing officers remain a little further back from that car fire. They're not really engaging with these demonstrators, mostly just standing in one place. As you can take a look right here, we got some officers there. And people are still throwing things at this car fire. Even now, I mean, the thing's on fire. People are still throwing things at it. They're incredibly emotional today. So most people are just out here right now. We are still in front of the CNN Center. We showed you earlier. Glass and windows at the CNN Center have been smashed out too. People really just using whatever they could to smash the windows out to deface the CNN sign.